Hi, today I'm going to be doing a video I didn't actually expect to be doing. I'm going to be comparing the Vera Wang Rock Princess 2023 edition to the original, which was a 2009 release, I think. Yeah, 2009. The reason I didn't think I was going to do this is because I already did a video on this 2023 version, so please watch that if you're just interested in the one that's most available and on sale all the time right now. But I found this on Facebook Marketplace for only $15, and I thought that was just great because the only other place I had seen it was in a local chemist, and the price was above $40, and I was really tossing up over whether I should get that, and I'm glad I didn't because this was a full bottle for $15 and it looks great. It's in perfect condition actually. This is them up close. This one is quite transparent actually, more than I thought. Like you can see my hand behind it. But the 2023 one is completely matte all the way around, which I quite like actually, and just clear at that bottom part. Whereas this is just shiny glass all the way around. That continues with the tiaras, the crowns and the rings. The 2023 version also just has black diamantes, and the original has clear or white diamantes. I'm going to put the rings on because I've got some nice nails for it. They're really cute. I think I actually like the shiny one better. I think matte doesn't suit me very well. Okay, so as soon as I got home, I sprayed each on either wrist and started comparing them, and at the same time sprayed them on paper to compare them because I find that pretty important. You can kind of detect more notes on paper, in my opinion, because it doesn't start blending with your skin chemistry and maybe changing the notes, making some disappear or making some stronger. I've done the original on this wrist and 2023 on this wrist. My very first impression was that they were more similar than I expected them to be. And I just expected them to be very different because I read lots of reviews of people saying that the new one had changed a lot, and it was supposed to change. It's not supposed to be just a reformulation or a repackaging. Like it's almost like a complete rebranding, I guess. And even lots of YouTube reviews, more in-depth reviews, just didn't sound like they were similar fragrances at all. So I was quite surprised that they really just smelt the same overall as soon as I sprayed them. They do have different notes, so I expect people to perceive them a little differently. I think that if you were familiar with the original years ago and you haven't smelt it in quite some time, and then you came to this new one, you would think they're trying to make it similar, but something has changed, and I agree that you would probably be disappointed if you're looking for the original. So yeah, they have different notes and different main accords that show up on Fragrantica. The original is described as mostly fruity, powdery, sweet and musky, and the new version is described as mostly woody, white floral, powdery and sweet. So they only have that powdery and sweet in common according to those accords. And just a quick breakdown of the notes. The original has raspberry and bergamot, which the new one doesn't have. It replaces those with Lang Lang and Lily of the Valley, whereas they both share peach as the top note. In the middle notes, the original has all florals, and they're soft florals. So there's heliotrope, lily, rose and jasmine. So yeah, some white florals, but they're all very soft. And then this one has sandalwood, damask rose and night blooming jasmine. So a mostly floral middle note, but that's sandalwood in there too. They do share the rose, but I guess damask rose is supposed to be a little different to regular rose. And in the base notes, they are so different as well. The original has cashmere wood, musk, coconut, and iris. And the new one has amber, musk, and vanilla. So they only share musk in the base notes. But I think that they have tried to change the notes to be similar but a little different. Perhaps they were trying to make this one more modern. But in my opinion, none of them are really representative of what's popular right now. Yeah, not even this new one. So I would not say get this to get the updated version, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not going to smell more trendy, I guess. When I first spray the original, I definitely smell the raspberry and peach. The raspberry and the peach, it's quite fruity, but the bergamot makes it more tart. So it's not a sweet fruity, it's just like a tart raspberry and peach. So yeah, don't be expecting a sweet fruity smell. Same with the 2023. And in my opinion, I'm just not a big fan of fruity unless it is really sweet or just citrusy. Like, I don't know, I kind of think bergamot just makes things too bitter and too tart. And I kind of get the same thing in this one with the Lang Lang. But yeah, something about the peach, Lang Lang, and Lily of the Valley make this quite similar, like a tart kind of fruitiness. I guess I do get a slight alcoholic smell in the original, and I've seen a lot of people liken it to red wine, and I actually agree with that. Yeah, and I'm a fan of red wine, but at the same time, I don't want to smell like red wine. Whereas with the 2023 version, I get a fruit punch smell. And yes, an unalcoholic fruit punch. It's kind of alright. Like, I don't really have a favourite in the opening of either of these. They're just kind of what they are, and they're still pretty similar, so I wouldn't really go with one or the other since they're not my favourites in top notes of fragrances. On first spray, I was kind of like, these are pretty similar. I think people call it like DNA when the overall mixture or something like that in fragrances smells the same. Like, when you get flankers of a fragrance, you expect it to smell still quite similar to the original with a flair of something different. And that's sort of what these are like, but at the same time, I don't really think they're different enough to be called like a flanker. So this, I think, is too similar to the original to be called a flanker of Rock Princess. So in the mid notes, I kind of think that is when they are diverging. I think that the original Rock Princess stays like a stronger smell and doesn't really fade to something softer like the 2023 version does, because to me this starts fading to very like a soft white floral scent, and I think that's because of the Night Blooming Jasmine. It's very powdery and soft, whereas this still smells really quite fruity when the mid notes come out. I mean, what I'm smelling now on the 2023 paper is still a little bit of peach, but mostly, yeah, powdery white floral. And for the original paper, you know what? I think it's actually faded past the fruitiness by now. It's been about an hour and a half since I sprayed it. I'm definitely getting white floral. Do they smell similar now? No, actually, I think I can smell a little bit more woodiness in the 2023, but otherwise they are really like white floral. I wouldn't really pick a favorite out of how they smell right now by the middle notes. Between the transition of the top notes to the mid notes, this one stays stronger for a while and it takes longer for the fruitiness to disappear, but by an hour and a half they are both quite light, very white floral, soft floral, with 2023 having a little bit more woodiness, and that's definitely because of the sandalwood. And they're both very powdery. So far, I've found that I like wearing the 2023 Rock Princess at night, and surprisingly in warmer weather. I used to think that powdery was supposed to be like a more comforting winter kind of vibe, but I've been reading a little bit, and I think some people say that powdery also makes it suitable for warmer weather because it's like a powdery fresh. Yeah, I'm not gonna start calling these like freshies or anything, but yeah, like a strong white floral scent that's also quite powdery will smell like a little bit fresh in a way, fresh and breezy. I don't think at the moment I can detect any base notes. What about on my skin? This one's starting to smell sweeter on my skin. Actually, they both are. I think they're sweeter on my skin than on paper, but I think that's just something to do with my body chemistry. I guess it is a floral sweetness, and something on my skin really brings that out. I'm actually getting like the heliotrope really well from the original, and I really like heliotrope. I see them on the ground a lot, and I pick them up and crush them to smell them. The heliotropes that are around where I live smell really like a creamy passion fruit. That might sound so weird, but yeah, it's a really creamy, like pasito kind of smell. Whereas on the 2023 side, I think it's a lot softer. Yeah, I would just say it's a soft floral scent. But yeah, I think in the middle notes on my skin, I can detect more going on with the original than I can with the 2023. But yeah, they're still soft, kind of like white floral with a bit of heliotrope on this side. So I would say on my skin, I am actually liking the original a bit more by this time because I really like that sweet smell of the heliotrope. Yeah, that's really nice. But yeah, I cannot really detect any base notes at the moment. I'm really keen to be able to smell the coconut in the original Rock Princess, but that's not really coming through at this time. And to reiterate what I was saying before, I think that the 2023 version like is very similar to the original, but it kind of pulls apart the notes in a different way. Like you start smelling things at different times. I would say this is definitely minus the raspberry smell because there's none in there, but otherwise the top notes would be more similar. And then in the middle notes, it just kind of adds sandalwood and leaves out the rest of the like the florals that are a bit more complicated in the original. So I'm expecting the base notes to also be a bit more complex in the original. Okay, so I may be back on another day to film that if I can't do it today, but I will take note of what I detect on my skin and on the paper, and also the performance comparison. So it's a couple of days later, but I did get to experience the base notes and the further dry down of both of these. And it's pretty much what I thought would happen. Like the original lasted a lot longer, and I think after about 6 hours, this was so faint. The 2023 was so faint on my skin, but I could still smell this one, yet still definitely a skin scent by this point. There was like no projection. I kind of think the coconut did come through a little bit on the original, and it was a really nice transition from the creamy heliotrope down to that slight coconut. So on the papers, I can now only smell a light woody floral, and I can actually smell the rose a little bit. So yeah, a couple of days later, I can still detect the 2023 on the paper, but yeah, it's really, really faint, but it's really nice and pretty actually with that woody maybe very lightly vanilla floral. And on the original, it's much stronger, I think. And the base notes are really interesting. So yeah, I think what I'm going to say about these in the end are that the original is stronger, but they are still very similar until about the mid notes. So like maybe 2 hours in, you're going to get more performance out of the original. And if I have to say I prefer one, it would be the original, because I like a fruity scent more, and I feel like the sweetness is lost a little bit in the 2023. But I think the original Rock Princess is discontinued, so I'm going to have to say go for the 2023 if you are looking for one out of the two. But I wouldn't recommend buying this full price, because I don't really think it's worth it unless you're really obsessed with the bottle design like I am. But I'm just so glad that I only bought this for $30, which was half price. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my comparison of Vera Wang Rock Princess, the original, versus the new 2023 version. Let me know if you have tried both and if you prefer one or the other, or if you have different opinions to what I've stated in this video. I'd be really interested to find out, as I'm actually really new to this whole Vera Wang Princess line in general. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.